just want to put this as a introduction. So when you're reading the cards, the tarot, each deck is a little different. And you read based on the energy of the image. Some people are just reading what they memorized the cards to be. Okay. But you also read on the image, what is there, how it's sitting with you and how that energy reflects in the question that you have asked as well. And it's interesting when you are reading and you are pulling in from the other side, somebody, they're communicating to you through these images. Okay, so this one was quite interesting in communicating with Papaji through these images. Okay, and this was absolutely the perfect deck for this reading because it is really different than what you find in other decks for the same number, Okay, so it absolutely was the right deck for this. And I want to thank Papaji for coming through and for sharing what was shared. But I just wanted to put this introduction. If you are reading tarot, okay, like I said, today's thing was about also feeling energy, connecting with ancestors, all these other things that you're doing, connecting with energies, okay? And sometimes you just have to sit for a second and let it come through exactly what they are attempting to express, okay? Exactly what is attempting to be shared through these images, okay? So much love and light. I hope you enjoy this reading. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you online. Okay. Looking at Papaji. Now, there are some things about Papaji that some people don't know. Yes, he went to visit Ramana, and I have to respect it because it was through him I met my guru. In fact, he came to my guru and said, "Go to the ashram now." I was coming, and it was set up by the universe for me to meet him. Okay, he was very instrumental in my journey. So I have to have respect for Papaji. But do I feel that he was totally realized? Okay. I think he was at what they would call the lowest level. And what do I mean by that? I mean that he's had a glimpse. He could talk about it, but I don't think he was in full realization where the mind was still. And why do I say that? Well, I have good reasons to say that. Because apparently he said, you keep deepening. You keep deepening until your last breath. Well, no. If one does the path right and one enters Turiyatita, instead of holding it, obviously he was holding it with effort. And again, because he said you keep deepening until you pass the form, okay? And again, why do I also come to that conclusion? Because unbeknownst to a lot of people, but I know this for a fact, he had a family, okay? And he did support his family, but he was also having an affair with one of the students, okay? And no fully realized master does that. You just don't. Okay? So this is why I say he had a glimpse. He could talk about it, but he was still constrained by ego. He rerouted. And this is why I say it's so important to read the Ashtavakra and the Vivek Chudamani, because they talk specifically about this. Also does the Tripura Rahasya, which again was one of the texts, one of the things that Ramana liked to quote from very often, because it gets those levels, those layers. You can have a glimpse of it and be able to talk about it, but you're holding it with effort. Okay? And then you have those that enter Turiyatita, the stilled mind. You have a Sahaj, ongoing Sahaj Samadhi, effortless. Okay? So that's why I say what I have to say about Papaji. Now I'm sure when he left the form, at that point he was freed of that. Okay? He was freed of that attachment, because clearly that attachment was still there. The mind had rerouted. He could talk about the absolute. Okay? People could feel some type of energy around him, but he was still engaged in, again, and what it's not, if you're out there having an affair with a student, then that is not complete and total realization. Okay? If you are still having that attachment to form and you're justifying your actions, there is something not completed there. And so this is why he would say, keep deepening until you take your last breath. Because when you take your last breath, he's freed of the form, and then he can go on to complete and total realization, liberation. Okay? You would never hear Ramana say, you continue to deepen. Okay? It's not stated. It's not stated. Okay? And when Papaji went to see Ramana, he was talking about his play with Krishna. I could see Krishna, I could talk to Krishna, I would play with Krishna. Okay? Well, Ramana asked him, well, is Krishna here now? No, he comes and goes. Well, then it's not the total divine is. The divine is doesn't come and go. Okay? That fully aspect of consciousness does not come and go. It is ever present. And at that point, then Papaji had this vision. Okay, he had the experience of the divine is. But it's clear that there was a rerouting of the mind, and he was not completely, totally liberated. Because a totally liberated being is not seeking sex. Okay? They're not. It has no, it's not something that one is interested in. When you are whole and complete in yourself, why are you seeking outward for something else? Okay? So, on that note, I think I'm going to see if I can do a read. Maybe I'm going to ask if Papaji will come through. And again, I'm grateful to Papaji, even though he wasn't fully liberated while in life. I'm sure that when he took his last breath and he was freed of the body, that at that point he had liberation. Okay, of that I have no doubt. Okay, I'm overcome with a feeling of there's a bit of a heaviness feeling for the time that he was on Earth and when he was engaging in that. Yeah, when he was engaging in that. So, first card out is coming to balance. Okay, coming to balance, a balanced state. The the challenge was about the absolute truth. Okay, the full truth, balance, and the full truth. Conscious thoughts were about going forward, putting the energy forward. Way he saw himself as one that was bringing benefit. Okay, bringing benefit. Putting that out there. Subconscious thoughts were about truth, bringing truth. Okay, energy surrounding it. We have justice. Above it, new messages. He wanted to give out these messages. Okay. Underneath of it, there was that feeling of having gotten what he needs in the world. Okay. In the past, there was that coming together, and he had that relationship. Okay. Hopes and fears, this was something that that he felt that he was that he had some completion in the world, worldly completion. Short term was about moving those things forward, taking that forward. But in the end with it, he was tied up. Okay, he was tied up. He had that restriction because of that affair that he was having. Okay. He wanted to give out this knowledge, wanted to give out this truth. He felt, satisfied. He felt completed when it came to worldly things. But there was that restriction. Okay. So now I'm going to ask him, can you give me some perspective now from the other side? Can you give me perspective now from the other side? Is there something you want to convey? I just feel in a way that feeling of him still with a bit of sadness because of that conduct. Okay? Because he was held up as a fully enlightened being, and that conduct was not the best. I just keep getting that feeling of just that sadness because, like I said, teachers are held to a higher accountability. Yeah. So, yeah, please let go of that. Please let go of that. Okay, so what we get is transformation. Okay. Talking about some transformation. Again, yeah, the challenge is putting an end to that type of thing and transforming. Okay. So, talking about transformation. Okay. Conscious thoughts are about you don't want to try to get away with something. Okay? Don't want to try to get away with something. Because you're deceiving yourself. If you do that, you're not in the fullness. Okay? There's not that fullness unless one goes through that death before death. Okay? And the mind stills. As long as that mind is still going, and that's what swords are, mind, that mind play. Okay? As long as that's still going, there is not that fullness. Okay? Because we have that, it's that glimmer of light, but it's not the fullness. Not the fullness. Subconscious is still about truth. About truth. Okay. This is the energy surrounding it. They're still striving. They're still, until one goes through that death before death, okay, if there is still mind play there, then that fullness has not been entered, is what it's saying. There's transformation. One is seeking truth, but there is still that energy. There's still something that needs to be broken through. Okay, above it, we have this attachment celebrations with others. Okay, and these are the things that need to be tempered. Okay, it needs to be tempered. That needs to be tempered. Okay. In the past, you can have a really full journey of a lot of emotion. There can be a lot of emotion there. Hopes and fears are to see and go after truth. Okay, to see it, be like a hawk. Focus in. Short term, it's not always easy. Like I said, it can be painful. The path can have pain. Okay, path can have pain. Okay. And one has to go within. I like that. We got to, you have to go within, okay? And one has to, you go through the death before death, okay? I'm going to pull a few more and just see. Yeah, it's about getting to a stiller, a place of stillness. The mind has to come to the place of stillness. Now, usually in these decks, the Six of Swords is the boat moving, but in this deck, it's not moving. So it's that mind coming to stillness, having to come to that utter stillness. Okay? Hangman. Okay? Seeing from the different perspective, and unmoving. Okay? One has, again, moved away, but the journey in here, there is nobody walking there. Okay? That persona, that ego identification has left. It's not in the picture anymore. It's no longer in the picture. Boy, is this the right deck for this reading? Because this is not the way it is, okay, in other decks, okay? So you have to come to that point of transformation. You have to seek it. You have to go through the difficult points. You have to go through that death before death, which enlivens, okay? If there is still mind play there, then one is still in illusion, okay? That's what it's saying. If there's mind play there, okay, and one wants to say that they're completely, totally done, okay, you're fooling yourself. You're not totally done, okay? You still need to seek the truth. There's still more work to be done, okay? There's celebration, but don't, in other words, yeah, there's celebration. Don't think you're completed too early. Don't think you're completed too early. Temperance, okay, temperance. Okay. One has to have the fullness, okay? One has to enter the fullness. Okay? One has to go beyond the pain and go within. Okay? One has to go within. Then it comes to the still mind. There has to be fully the still mind, unmoving. And the persona has to have left the picture. Okay? And it has to have left the picture. So that's a valuable, that's a valuable teaching. Don't think you're done too early and go out there. If you're still being driven by these thoughts, okay, and you're still hanging on, and, it's like he said about, I feel that he has some sorrow in telling people you're always deepening until the end, because that's not the case. If you have done it right and you enter Turiyatita, you're done, okay? But yeah, you'll be thinking you're deepening until the end. If your mind has rerouted, if you've had a glimpse of it, okay? And there are people that have that. They go into a nirvikalpa samadhi, okay? And they may be within the divine is, but when they come out of it, the mind reroutes and starts again. And it's like the Ashtabaka. You need to pull those roots out. You don't water that tree again that reroots. Because if it reroots, then one is back in that ideology of body form. And this is what took place with him. He re entered that body form so he could talk about the absolute, but he was still driven by those carnal desires. Okay, so was not fully completed until he left the body. Okay, so he was right in what he said. For him, there was deepening until the last breath. And at that last breath, when he transitioned out of the form, he left those desires behind. Okay, and that can happen. And I think that's what happens with a lot of these teachers. They get a glimpse, they can talk about it, okay? But they're still ruled by carnal desire, okay? So they haven't fully completed. And I think for ones like Papaji, like what I'm feeling with him, I'm feeling a bit of a release now, but it was like that sorrow that he put that out. Because, you know, Ramana would never have said something like that. Okay? That is not the truth of it. Okay? You only appear and want to say you're deepening until the last breath because the mind had rerouted and was chasing carnal desires. Okay? And yeah. For that I feel with him some heart some sorrow in that. Some sorrow in that. Okay. So yeah, this is a little, you know, not something I enjoy talking about because the, the the one that brought me to liberation was with him, and it was Papaji that went to him and told him to go there. Okay, and that's how I met my guru. Okay, and so I am forever grateful to Papaji for that. Okay, but yeah. Again, if you want to know the whole truth, the best one, the best light is Ramana, without a doubt. Without a doubt, Ramana. Okay? Now, Ramana's messages, you can see they're a little bit changeable depending on who he's speaking with, depending on where they're coming from. He is addressing them and their path forward. Okay? So some people you work with one way and other people you work with another way, depending on where they're at in their journey. If they're just beginning, you give them one set of information. If they're almost completed at the end, you can give them something else, something deeper, okay? But there is absolutely continuity in what Ramana says, okay? What Ramana says. So I'm going to leave this here. Much love and light, and thank you for Papaji. Okay, thank you for Papaji. But yeah, if you have a guru and they are out there, you know, chasing the women or chasing the men, whatever, and they want to say they're totally completed, they're not totally completed. Okay, they're not. They're still being driven by some carnal desires. Okay, so that is not total. Again, maybe they can talk about it. They've had a glimpse of it. But again, if the mind reroots and it starts up again, then one again develops that sense of ego sense and can be driven by those desires. Okay, so much love and light. See you online.